Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is the first time I'm doing this via this platform. This platform is called StreamYard. All right. So it's my show here. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. And I also hope that you've had a great start to the beginning of the week as well, because it is Monday. So just waiting on my guest to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. My fault. This guy's in Central Time because he's in Chicago. And the time that I told him, he was thinking, another time. So that's my fault. But we are going to get things going. And let me make sure that I can share this where we are right now. All right. And it should be. All right, so we should be going pretty good right now. All right, so just welcome everybody. Like, this is the show. It's Quality Comedy Time with Quincy Carr. Well, Quality Comedy Time with Quincy. Just wanted to do a little something to continue the quality comedy brand that I have. Obviously, each month is difficult under these circumstances to run a live show, obviously with social distancing. So we definitely want to keep the brand going. There's been a lot of people asking, are you going to do anything? Are you, keeping things going? So this was the idea my wife and I came up with. So on this show, we'll be talking with some comedians, national comedians from all over, comics that I've had an opportunity to be connected with. Comics that I may not have had an opportunity to perform with or share the stage with, but we know each other. But we get a chance to get some insight. Some of the comics normally curse while they perform on stage, but the idea in this room, on this show, is to keep everything all fun, no filth. The same thing as the quality comedy brand, no profanity. And so I'm super excited, just waiting for him to come into the room right now. I can tease what today's show is going to be about. We are speaking with a veteran comedian in the business. He's been in the game for a long time, on TV, travel the world, and just happy to have him here. He's definitely a comedy brother of mine. He's the reason why I'm performing on the Norwegian cruise lines now. So just super excited to have him. Just give me 1 second. He's giving me a call.
Frank Townsend, comic.
Hey.
To accept, press 1.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah, the link says there's nothing there.
The link says there's nothing there. All right. Okay. It sends you to the, okay, let me see. Let me send you this invite link and see if this works. This is weird because, yeah, I'm going to send it to your, I'm going to text it to you again, okay? All right, thanks. All right. All right, so these are some of the technical difficulties that you can have while trying to go virtual. All right, so I would love to start over, but that is not going to be the plan today. Give me 1 second. I gotta send him this link once again, and hopefully he will get it. And once he gets it, he'll be able to chime in so we can get this thing started. All right. Let me see if he gets that. That's why he's having trouble. Yeah, he combined it with another. Yeah, my fault. User error. That's what that was. All right. So anyway, waiting for him to click that link. Once he get that link, then he'll be in the room and we can get this thing started with Mr. Frank Townsend. He's the special guest today. So let me turn this down here. All right. And thank those of you who are tuning in right now. Like I said, we had some user error. That's my fault. A couple of things that I did not do. And that's why I have this message on my shirt right now that says I strive to be perfect, but end up being human. So as a matter of fact, he is in the room now. So let me Before we get things started, thank everybody again for tuning in. And I'd like to introduce to you guys, since 1996, Frank has worked with comics like Damon Wayans, Tommy Davidson, Mike Epps, and the king of comedy, D.L. Hughley. You've seen him on 4 seasons of BET's Comic View, not just 1, 2, 3. He's been on 4 times. Also, you've seen him in the movie Barbershop. People, this is Chi-Town's finest. Let's welcome Mr. Frank Townsend. How you doing, my man?
Quincy, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Hey, bro. Everything is going well, man. I appreciate you coming on. Not sure if we get a little bit of feedback. Do you know if you can turn your screen to the side?
Where we at?
All right. Well, just turn it like horizontal and see. Yeah. And that'll make it a lot better. All right. Well, everybody, Frank Townsend in the building. I see that the quarantine beard has got you
Dude.
looking warm, huh?
Dude, I didn't know I was this old. I was sitting there like, I thought I was still youthful. It's a lot of silver in this thing.
Oh yeah. Look, I got a little bit. Obviously, it hasn't come out all the way, but I got some that's coming in. Hey, look, for the viewers that's out there, anybody that's tuning in, just letting you guys know a couple of things is going to happen here. I try to keep the show to about 30 minutes long, and I'll be giving away some money. So just pay attention to the entire deal, and I'll be giving away a little bit of money. Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
Just enough to put some gas on the tank.
Hold on, let me go get my other phone, see if I can get this money too. I need to get it on both ends.
Right. So, just hello there to Brenda and everybody else. I know my wife is tuned in.
Hey, wife.
That's Brenda. Folks, as you can see on the screen, share this live and comment and leave questions, etc. And this stuff will be answered later in the show. That's what we plan to do. And it's like I said, just want to introduce people to comics that people may not be familiar with. I know you've been in the business for a long time there, Frank, so we can go ahead and get started. Off the top. You're a family man doing COVID-19, bro. And I know I was supposed to have you at my March show here in Virginia. Yeah. You were just getting off a ship, and I had to pull the plug on the show that week, like that Monday, man. So I was supposed to have you down here live and full effect.
It was one of those. It was scary because I was coming through on a ship that was coming through New York. So the week before we got to New York, the head of Port Authority, he got COVID. So we didn't know what we were going into when we hit New York. So the whole thing was scary to us. So we didn't know what was going to happen. And I was like, yo, Quincy, are we going to do this show? Because, I need to know where I'm going to be stuck. Because am I going to be stuck in New York? Or am I going to be stuck in Chicago? Virginia? Let me know where I'm going to be stuck at. So
I was pushing the limit. As far as I could, because I didn't know. And just me not knowing, I just wanted to hold out as long as I could. And then as soon as, things just got really crazy, then that's when it was like, okay, I got to pull the plug on the show. And, for a lot of promoters out there, a lot of bookers, and even comedy club owners and managers, they've had to, they lost money during that time too. And the biggest thing that we, heard was comedians talking about how much money they lost, and everybody just talking about how much money they lost, and it's like, hey, it's not just you. I mean, bookers, promoters. I mean, I know the cruise line. They lost a load.
Gang of money.
Yes.
They lost it. They still losing money. It's bad.
Right. Well, look, do you know how bad it is? Like, they are giving away so much stuff for people to book a cruise right now. And like, free drink package, free flights,
Dude, they will give you your very own Filipino if you just book this flight and this cruise. They ain't playing with y'all.
Right, man. And and you're from the Chi. So like, how's your family doing?
Everybody's cool. Literally the day that I got off the ship and got back to Chicago, that was the day that they canceled schools in the city. That's when I knew it was serious, because anybody to know anything about Chicago public schools, they don't close for nothing. They don't close for one damn thing. Look, bullets are flying in the city. Your kid going to school. It's below zero. Your kid going to school. COVID, your kid not going to school. Oh man, this is real.
Right. I mean, like y'all get like 23 feet of snow, and you know, in one weekend, and y'all still go to school.
And so, your kid going to school.
Absolutely, man. You know, Chi-Town's got to get there's some now. You know, I'm gonna make a quick transition now. The whole world, the whole nation has been watching your city, the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance, the documentary.
Yeah.
Now tell me, give me your thoughts on this whole thing, because I know you're a Jordan fan. I know you're very passionate about Michael Jordan, bro.
The funniest thing about it was, to me, a week before it aired, Mike did an interview and he said that people gonna see this and think he's an ass. And I was sitting there like, what did you think your rep was before this, Mike? I mean, Mike, we knew you could ball, but nobody thought you were a nice guy. Really, they just didn't. So when that happened, and this Isaiah Thomas thing, that's real. That's real.
Well, I know that there's a real beef between like Detroit and Chicago, and Isaiah is from Chicago, right?
Oh yeah, South Side. No, he's a West Sider, born and raised. And here's the biggest thing that I see that a lot of people ain't really touched on with that. If there's no Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas is the king of Chicago basketball, bar none.
Gotcha.
Think about it. There's no one else out of Chicago until Derrick Rose, and his ain't as big as Isaiah was. So if not, basketball, no matter what, comes through Chicago. New York can talk a lot of stuff, but it's coming through Chicago.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of things come through Chicago. Clearly, you know, the first black president.
Oh yeah,
whole bunch of stuff come through Chicago, bro.
Be easy. Where you at? We need you, bro. Come on, quit playing.
Yeah, you know, just gotta calm the fears of everybody else. Like that was probably one of the smoothest Chicago brothers. But then on the flip side, you had R. Kelly.
How you gonna bring them up back to back? Come on, man.
I mean, y'all had the good and the bad, and then Jordan was the ugly.
No. R. Kelly's the ugly. Come on. Right. He ain't go to jail now. Come on. He gambled a little bit, but he ain't go to jail.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an interesting documentary to watch that. And I know people that's from Chicago, especially comics, like there's a bunch of comedians that's in the business right now out of the shot. And a lot of people don't understand how crazy the comedy scene in Chi-Town is, man.
Okay, I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. I started in 96. Yeah. Right around, that was when I first started hitting, like, all jokes aside. And it took me, I think, 4 months to get on stage. And the night that I actually got on stage, it was because the regular host wasn't there.
Okay.
The way the show broke down was they had about 15 or 16 comics every Wednesday night on the open mic. Mm-hmm. And you had literally 8 of those spots were already taken for sure, because they had to make sure the show was gonna pop. So they had to know certain guys were getting on. Out of that, then you got the 7 spots that's left. You got the regulars that are going on. Other than that, you know, you might be going for, let's say, 3 real spots that are open.
Okay.
It's 50 brothers coming down there to do that show, because we only had one black comedy club with an open mic night, and that was all jokes aside.
Oh, wow.
So, and if you got on that stage and you bombed, you wasn't getting back on that stage for 2-3 months.
Hold up, who was running that club? Because I know D. Ray Davis was running Riddles, right?
Yeah, Riddles. Riddles came after that.
Okay.
Ray Lambert and Mary were the 2 that were running all jokes aside. There's a nice documentary about some of the comics that came through there. I mean, because at one point, there were only 2 black-owned comedy clubs in the country, and that was both of them, because they had one in Chicago and one in Detroit.
Okay.
So, yeah. But it was a tough place to get on stage. So you had no choice. If you got that stage, you had to rock it, because if not, you wasn't getting back on it.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a lot of areas. I know here in the Hampton Roads area, the comedy scene went through a different set of changes over the years. I started in '99, so I always joke with the young folks. I started in the late 1900s, but like when I came in the game, like I started in a predominantly mainstream room. So my material. Didn't come from just kind of just hitting the stage and just talking about something to a group of people who your skin color and their skin color, everything relates. Now, here's the cool part. You are, for lack of a better word, you are like this mainstream urban, whatever comic that can rock out any room. So, but you started in the mainstream. Well, did you start in the urban room or in the mainstream?
Technically, I started in urban, but I did urban my way. Well, I grew up in the hood, but I wasn't super hood. So, yeah. Okay. I grew up around gangbangers, but I had to go in the house.
Same here. I raised my hand. Same here.
My family had rules, so it wasn't no you're just gonna be out in the street doing whatever. And my grandmother worked for the board of ed, so she was trying to make sure that we were cultured. Okay. So she got tickets through the board of ed. So we was going to operas, plays, all types of stuff, and all in the name of being cultured. So while I grew up in the hood, certain stuff just wasn't going to happen in my house. It just wasn't going to happen.
Hey, bro, look, I'm the same, man. I'm the same way. I got comics that look at me a bit, man, you sure have a lot of white people at your shows, man. Like, and I have to tell them, I said, my parents put us in environments that wasn't just black. So I understood how to kind of be outside of what I was, or what a lot of people who look like us was used to. And, it just became like, once I started in the mainstream setting, my problem came when I started performing at a predominantly black setting. Because as you know, a white audience, they give us the benefit of the doubt. If you're a black comic and you hit the stage, yeah. I just want to know what you're going to talk about. I don't care what you look like. I don't care. And they're just so happy. Black folks is like, all right, what you coming with?
Black folks like, earn your money.
Yeah.
Black people like, earn your money. You don't got to do nothing. Earn this. You finna earn these laughs because I don't want to give them to you.
Absolutely. And so it took me a while before I was able to kind of transition. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got was from this, it was a club owner at this mainstream club. And I said, I'm having trouble with black and white comedy. And he said, that's your problem. You put a color on it. If you just understand how to read your audience without disrespecting them and deliver, funny is funny if it is funny. That's the main thing. And that's all people need to know. Funny is funny if it's funny. So it's, it's kind of hard because, like a different wave of comics came up at the time where you was on BET Comic View, bro. Not just one time, but for 4 seasons, right?
Yeah, I did it right up until it stopped being funny.
And I think I remember that.
Man, it took a dip fast.
Yeah.
But Comic View was interesting because it taught me. I learned something from Comic View that I didn't learn from anybody. I learned that we were the only ones watching it.
Okay.
Black Comic View didn't do a lot for a lot of careers. It helped a few people, but it didn't help a lot of careers long term. Basically, Comic View made you the most famous person on your bus stop. That's all it could do.
Right.
And it actually made it harder to get into clubs because what would happen is you go to the Improv or the Funny Bone and you tell them you did Comic View. You might get Apollo night. You might get nothing at all because the minute that did, it labeled you because now you were a Def Jam comic. You were a Comic View comic. And regular mainstream clubs didn't want that particular type of comedy right then. They didn't want it at all.
They want it now.
Oh, now they do.
It is crazy how much it'd be like, oh, you're a black comic? Oh, come on in. Like they can care less about you in a lot of cases, but they know that, and this is what was told to me. was that black comics sell more than a white comic sells in a lot of those mainstream clubs. So that's why you'll see on their calendar of upcoming comics, like about 8 in a row of urban comics. And then they'll sprinkle in one little salt.
Yeah. White folks is upset about that.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, but to us, it's like, do we have to understand our value? Do we have to understand what we actually bring to the table? Or do we just get thirsty on the fact that, hey, this comedy club wants to book me, so I'll do whatever it takes to get in that comedy club? Because from what I saw for years, after the Def Jam, Bad Boys of Comedy, and Comic View, those comics were getting booked. And they were making, a couple $1,000 just off their 5 to 6 minute set people saw on TV.
Yeah.
And then when people saw them live, they'd be like, oh, you ain't no headliner. You barely a regular comic. So then that started to saturate the market. And then you started seeing less and less of those comics.
Well, to be honest, that's kind of what's happening now. The industry is going through a little bit of that with the internet comedians. And it's some funny internet comics, and it's some that are funny just for the internet. Not trying to knock anybody, but the thing is, you got famous, now you got 1 million followers or whatever, but you got to have a show because they booking you out on a Wednesday or Thursday night as a special event. That ticket's going to cost $10, $12, no. It's not. It's going to cost $20, $30.
Right.
And you're going to sell it out. But if the show is whack, that means they ain't never coming back, which means they ain't never booking you. So you made anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000 that night, but you can't do it again because they don't want you back.
Man, that is crazy. And for you were a comic coming out of the 90s, going into the new millennium, and then you got a dope opportunity. Barbershop. Ice Cube is filming this movie in Chicago, and you see a whole bunch of Chicago comics. Bernie Mac was missing from it clearly, but you see a whole bunch of Chicago comics. How did you land that, Don?
It was the weirdest thing. I had an agent that was doing I was doing like commercial auditions and stuff, and then this audition fell in my lap, and the director of the movie was a guy by the name of, believe his name is Tim Story. Yeah. And anybody who knows black comedy in America, Tim Story could be Damon Williams, not Damon Wayans, but Damon Williams, identical twin brother. Yeah. So when I walk into the audition, I look across the table and I see what I think is Damon. So I'm like, oh hell, I got this. This is my boy. Come on. Yeah. So I'm talking to him like I know him, and he's like, I'm not him. And I'm staring at him like, damn, that ain't Damon. And so he's like, yeah, I know. I've heard that from the last 10 comics to come in here. So, but I read for a few different parts. They gave me the part I got, and I was happy with it. So it was good. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun shooting that.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. And then from there, like, you've been a part of the Norwegian cruise line, which big shout out to you. As a matter of fact, I had my man, our good friend Ivan Martin. I had him on last week, and Ivan always jokes to say, "Look, it was me that got you on the ship because Frank came to me looking for, for me to submit my stuff, and I said, hey, what about Quincy? And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but Frank is still the dude that got me in there, so technically Frank is that dude that got me on there. But I appreciate what Ivan did.
Let me tell you what happened. No. I'm gonna tell the people the truth. You didn't want to do. You was like, yeah, I got all this stuff. I was like, look, Quincy, this stuff is perfect for you. Because I brought it up to Ivan. He's like, yeah, I don't know if Quincy want to do it. And so then I called you and was like, look. And he was like, nah, I don't think I want to do. I don't want to do.
I didn't sound like that, Frank.
Yes, you did. For the purpose of this story, yes, you did. And so that's what. And I was like, no, man, this is perfect for you. I know you can do the job. And the thing is, I knew you could do the job, and I knew you wasn't gonna mess up the job. Because there are a few comics that I know that will do the job, but then there are a few comics I know that, because you know what it's like on a ship. It's an easy job to mess up.
Yes, sir.
And we ain't even talking about the stage.
Right. Just everything that comes with just being out there on the cruise ship. And here's the thing about you, for the viewers that don't know, Frank is considered the mayor of the Norwegian cruise line. If you say, you don't even have to say Frank's last name. It's like, hey, yeah, do y'all know Frank? Oh, Frank? You don't even have to say Frank. Oh, Frank! Oh my gosh, Frank, we love him. Dude. Everybody knows you. Every port, every ship. Everybody knows Frank. It's like, this dude is the mayor of Norwegian cruise lines.
That title comes with getting fired almost like every other week. I swear it does. It seems like every cruise something happens, and I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't say this, but I say it anyway, and it works out. So they ain't fired me yet.
Well, clearly, bro. So, you still on there doing your thing and everything. And for anybody out there, who may be tuning in or watching, if you have a question for Frank, please ask the question and we will answer that question for you. Also, don't forget, I'll be giving away some cash tonight. So It is based on how much people were paying attention from this entire interview. I'll ask a question towards the end. But if you have a question... Huh?
I can help them out. We can split it, whatever it is.
Bruh, if you up there in Chicago, this ain't gonna help you. The cost of living is high up there in Chicago. This ain't gonna help you out.
Everything helps in this time. Everything helps.
Yeah, man, I can imagine.
I just get some wings. That's all I need. It's cool.
Yo, so what funny experience or story do you have from the cruise line? I mean, I have a few of them myself in the year and a half I've been doing it. But what funny story?
Let's go with the lap dance I got on stage.
Wait, now a good percentage of the passengers are like 60 and up.
No. Okay, it depends on what ship and what time you go.
Right.
I was on the Norwegian Escape.
Yeah.
That's the ship that has After Midnight. All black cast, all black show. It's a tribute to the Cotton Club era. Amazing cast.
Yeah.
I love that show. Long story short, we were about to do the midnight show, the late show. And we had this woman, she was so drunk that before the show even started, she was disrupting it. She had people moving out of her way. People were tired of her already. So the host gets on, that's 10 minutes. She talked through the host. She talked through like my first 5 minutes, but I tried to ignore as much as I could. Finally got to the point where I couldn't ignore her anymore. And so I started giving her the business. And out of nowhere, she stood up right in front of the stage. She walked to the front of the stage and stood right in front of the stage. Woman is about, I would put her between 28, 32. Not a bad looking woman, actually a nice looking woman in a miniskirt. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her. I can tell she's drunk, but she's not violent, so I ain't worried about her. She decides that she's going to come up on the stage. Now, for everybody who's never been on the ship, stage is only 6 inches high. So it's not like she got to climb anything. She just take one little step and she's up there. I'm sitting on a bar stool with my feet crossed in front of me. One hand holding the mic, the other hand is holding the mic stand. She stands there, she looks me in my eye, and she straddles me and proceeds to give me a lap dance. At which point, the audience is freaking out because they thinking, nobody thinks this is real because it ain't.
Right.
And I'm sitting there just trying to keep my job. That's all I want to do, keep my job. So when she finishes, she stops and she looks right in my eye, and I look at her and I go, that's the sorriest lap dance I ever had in my life. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Right.
At which point the audience goes crazy, and now she's mad.
Right.
She gets off of me, and she's going back to her seat. I had on brand new black jeans. And I look at my lap, and I can see where she was actually sitting. You know, there's the discoloration on my pants. Like, I don't know if it was, because she had on a skirt, and you know, a lot of times women will put powder or something on their thighs so that they don't chafe. And I'm looking at my thighs. I'm like, what the hell did you do to my pants? You're not even a real white woman. This comes off. And now she's getting mad. So I'm getting all the jokes left and right. And then finally I get to the point I say, well, look, if I tell you to shut the... Oh, this is a... We're not cursing on this, are we?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad I asked first. I told her if I told her to shut the hell up, I might get in trouble. But if the audience does it, then that's just passenger on passenger crime.
Right.
3, whole audience tells her to shut up. She starts arguing with the audience. I start refereeing the fight. I'm having a ball. Then at some point, another member of the audience, he counted to 3. The audience did it again. At that point, I'm like, that wasn't even my fault. They did that on their own. They don't even know. You should leave. So as she's leaving, everybody's applauding. And I say, now for everybody that's in here, I need you to write a positive comment card. For the negative one, she's about to go and write.
Right.
I was joking. This woman, as drunk as she was, walked out to the middle of the atrium, stood in the middle of the atrium at about 11:30.
Yeah.
And just screamed at the top of her lungs that the comedian has ruined her trip.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. My boss on the ship was asleep. They woke her up. They drug her out of bed to go talk to her.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but now you do. When there's a complaint on you on the ship,
yeah,
it's logged in the system. And
I had one.
Oh, yeah. So you already know. So it's actually logged in the system, and everybody can read it. Everybody with a computer can read it. So she actually complained. But the crazy part was after the show, everybody in the audience complained on her. So the next day you saw her complain, and everybody was like, oh, I wonder what happened to Frank's show. Then you read like 80 complaints on her because they actually went out and did it. But this was the first adult show of the week. For the rest of the week, all my shows was packed because everybody wanted to see if she was coming back.
Yo, and she never came back?
Not to my show, no. But they said her boyfriend was mad and he was looking for me, and that kind of made me nervous because her boyfriend was a white dude. There's like 3,000 of them on the ship. I didn't know which one.
And it ain't like you got somewhere to go. I mean, you either go to the water or you just wait to hit port, right?
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
There was a dude on one of the ships that I was on. We left out of New York, and this was a Puerto Rican cat. And this was the weekend of the Puerto Rican Day Parade, I believe. Oh, and he got on the ship. Bro, I know that you've seen this too. Like at some point, you know, and even for the people that's been on cruise ships, you know, after a couple of days, if it's a long trip, you're going to see the same person over and over and over. And there are certain people that will always be in your face, right? And there was this dude, Puerto Rican cat, had the Beijing painted on his beard. It was like this perfect razor beard. It looked like it was drawn over. And he walked around with shades, and his pants was sagging, whereas, you know, his butt was showing his, you know, like his what was the name brand with Tommy John? Underwear was available. Everybody could see the name on it, and everywhere you went, it's like he was there, right? And you could tell. As a matter of fact, this was the weekend, or this was the week before Toronto beat Golden State in the championship. So everybody was piled up, you know, around the bar, and they was watching the game. And then at this point, it had been about 4 days, and people were already getting tired of this cat. And then he's there. He's from New York, but he's cheering for Golden State like he's from LA. And so he was like, yeah.
He one of them dudes.
Yeah. And he was just being extremely obnoxious, right? So at the end, like, people couldn't tell if he was like a reality TV star or something, because he was always doing selfies and had a little selfie light and all that stuff. So nobody knew. And on the very last night, my last performance, I said, there was a couple of things I just want to see if you notice. Maybe we've all seen this, maybe we haven't. And so I mentioned, you know, like, you know, the typical stuff, you know, have you been waiting for an elevator and somebody pressed the button before you got on the elevator? Oh, no. And I said, in the final one, I don't know how many people can agree or have seen this, but there's one person on the ship that if he fell overboard, everybody would be happy, and the crowd loses it because everybody
knew exactly who he was.
Who he was. And there he was sitting in the back of the room, bro. And I'm like, oh, because I can't fight either, bro. You know, Puerto Rican dude. This dude looked like, I'm like, yo, maybe I spoke. This is all jokes, bro.
No, let me tell you something. Every time that I tried to talk about somebody that was on the ship, they almost always ended up in the audience of that show.
Yes, sir. And it's definitely not a fun situation there.
I make it fun. I'll have a ball with that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I know Flip Schultz can turn the show like instantly on somebody if he needed to.
Yeah. Flip had to do one, and it's out of New York. Flip had to do one time, and it was like dude was like invited Flip out in the hallway to fight. We were like, this was when I first got the job. I was still hosting back then. We were like, really? It's like, dude, you on vacation and you want to fight?
Right.
You need to have a vacation. You're doing it wrong.
If Flip ain't gonna really fight anybody, he gonna be, dude, it's just comedy. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do. Hey, man, what are you doing, man?
Flip said one of the funniest lines. He's like, fight? I'm Jewish. Come on, man.
Flip is definitely not gonna fight, man. He's not gonna fight anybody if he don't need to. I tell you that. Now, we're getting close, man. This went by extremely fast, man. Just let the people know where they can, find you. Because I'm looking for a question. I don't see anybody have any questions for us to answer. What I can do is I can still offer the money if they remember. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, let people know how they can find you.
I'm in the house. Real talk. I'm in the house.
You're in the house.
Comics ain't working. Look, at this point, I'm cutting grass. I'm doing whatever I got to do for this money. When y'all see this webcam, don't say nothing if you ain't donating. Just let it go up and enjoy the show.
Right.
But I got some things that I'm writing.
Good.
Trying to get out that in the next, you might see in the next 12 to 18 months. So that's the big stuff. Other than that, when the stages open up, you'll see me at the Improvs, the Funny Bones. You'll see me back on Norwegian. Yeah, I'll be everywhere. Comedy is a lot like prostitution. We just follow the money. You pay us, we do it, we go. You go. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that just a little bit, but just this one time.
Just this one time. Those private events are just like that. Yeah, you don't need a stage, do you? Can you tell jokes right at the table? Like,
sure.
What you paying?
Right, sure. I just go ahead and do it. Real quick, any advice for upcoming comics? Because I don't know if you, or no, I do know that you get this because I know I get it now too. Comics, they see us on these cruise ships and they're like, yo, man, you got to put me down with one of those things. And I'm like, look, let me tell you something. You have to be built for the cruise ship because this is not your same club set that you follow and that you take everywhere, your little 40 minutes. You've got to have a good, at least hour.
This is what I tell them. Because, first of all, Norwegian has a good setup on the big ships when they go through levity because you have a host. The host only does 10 minutes. And so that's a great way to start. I was blessed to start off as a host because it allowed me to build up material. Because if you're a regular comedy club comic, you're going to lose at least 50 to 60, 70% of your jokes just by going to a ship.
Absolutely.
Because you're doing family-friendly shows. There are topics they don't want you to touch on a cruise ship because it has to be of a certain way. So, honestly, the best thing I can do is say, find anything online where you can see a cruise ship comic doing the set, number one, just to get an idea of what you're going for. But if I had to tell somebody how to write for a cruise ship, I would tell them, here's what I would tell them. I would say, think corporate clean with kids in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely be ready.
Oh, yeah.
Because the kids will be in the front row.
Oh, yeah. Kids in the front row.
Right.
That, to be honest, that's one of the hardest parts. The first time you get on a ship and you actually see children as a comic in the audience.
Right.
It's a surreal thing. You don't believe it.
Yeah.
One time I walked in the room. I walked in the comedy club on the ship and literally half the room was under the age of 11.
Oh, wow.
I was so mad I didn't know what to do. I mean, literally half the room. From the pole in the center of the room all the way to the bar, kids.
Right. And it's like the adults or their parents are bringing them to the show so they can enjoy the show. But it's like if you're not prepared mentally to see that or visually to see that as a comic, you will freeze up because then you start second guessing. If I say this, is this going to get me kicked off the ship? So the one thing that I can say, preparing for cruise ship comedy, you know what? The crazy part is I don't even remember telling you no, I didn't want to do it. Like, that's where I'm lost. But if I said it, I said it clearly. Okay. But I changed back in 2010 to just rebrand myself to just be, what I coined quality comedy, just clean it up and go anywhere. And once, I think this was in 2018 when, the idea came up again and you said, just submit 10 minutes once. And I said, yeah, I have no doubt that I don't have material. But the first ship I did, bro, the first performance I did, I walked away from that stage and I said, wow, I don't know if I'm built for this. Like, it made me second guess. And at the time, I had been in the game for 17, 18 years. But, and I had enough material because I went, because I remember I called you. I said, Frank, I think they categorized me as a headliner. And you were like, really? You said, dude, I started hosting first if I went to headliner. They must have saw something that they really liked, in 10 minutes. And so, I'm like, okay, I know they know I can do it, but I second guessed myself. Like, I'm like, because some of the jokes didn't hit. And then once I understood how to really get them on the front porch, in terms of comedy, but get them on the front porch, then I started to understand how can I, number one, stretch the material because I don't have to do on land material on the ship. Right. I can do ship-focused stuff that then allows me to go into my on-land stuff that I know works. And so that was a process. So I have to tell a lot of comics, well, not a lot, but a few of them, man, you got to hook me up with them. They're like, no, this ain't what you think it is. I'm telling you.
For me, I had two rules. If it was talking to a comic that wanted to do this, one, I literally judged them because it's my name you going under. Right. So there are two qualifications. One, can you do the show? Yeah. Yeah, that's very important. Can you do the show? If you can do the show, that's number one. Number two, can you follow the rules? Can you live on a cruise ship? Yeah. A lot of cats can't do that. And so that second one knocked out a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I tell you something, them showers, I mean, it don't matter if you small, I'm small. But I've seen some plus size folks, and when that shower curtain touch you, and look, one time, bro, one time I was taking a shower, and I know somebody next to me heard me. I got so mad because that shower curtain has a ship rock, and that shower curtain touch you, and it touch you, and it's like he's being molested. It's like a hand. And I said, "Get off me, man!" And I did that. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm in here by myself. And I'm sure somebody next to me was like, yo, who is a comedian next door? Yeah. Oh,
and the sad part is they were probably looking like it's a cruise ship. Just rolled over with the sleep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually got a guy that was I was in the Navy with, Deschamps, that's his last name, but John, he talking about I shouldn't have had an issue on a cruise ship. Man, get out of here, bro. Look, those ships in the Navy was just as nasty too. I tell you that right now.
First of all, the thing is, first of all, if you in the Navy, you ain't getting fired in the Navy. They put a lot of money in the training you.
Right. Right. No.
Comics can get fired mid-cruise.
Right. They wait to another port, be like, yeah, hold up, bro. This is so crazy. So I did a smaller ship because Norwegian got the bigger class ships and they got the smaller class ships. So I did in the smaller class, and that's when I had the fight with the curtain. Like, get off me, man. Right. But yo, so they were telling me about this comic that wasn't doing that good. And so when you're on the smaller ships, you are the only comic. On the bigger ships, for everybody that don't know, you'll get 2 headliners and a host. On the smaller ships, it's just the headliner. And that person is the comedian, is the comedy relief, period. And I'm doing my thing. And of course, I bring your name up and say, yeah, you know, Frank Townsend. Oh my gosh, Frank, we love Frank. And so I'm like, yeah, Frank is the one that really got me on these ships, you know, about a year or so ago. And they said, oh my gosh, Frank saved a cruise one time. This comic, we felt so bad for him, but it was like 2 days into a 5-day cruise, and they were done with him. And they called you to go relieve that dude, but the problem was they couldn't get him off the ship, or he couldn't leave the ship, so he had to stay on the ship, I think, while you were doing his shows. And they felt so bad for him that they threw him a going away party. But I'm like, it is real. If you ain't doing your thing, the passengers put in a report, or your supervisor's like, hey, I'm not hearing good things. We gotta boot you off.
The small ships are really bad with that. Small ships are really bad. Let me tell you about that ship, because that was a ship that was leaving. They flew me to Key West from Seattle to do that.
Yeah.
I was getting off a ship coming from Alaska, and they flew me to Florida with all my Alaska clothes.
Yeah.
I was in there, and they told me the story, and I was like, well, y'all brought me here after y'all, because they fired 2 comics.
Oh, wow.
I was the 3rd comic. So by the time the audience saw me, they just looked at me with just venom. Looking like this. It looked like a white-black audience. I was like, why are y'all so mean?
Yeah.
And so,
my God.
That was crazy.
And that's a lesson, too, because it's like I said, like I've witnessed, you know, a situation, and then when I heard that story, I'm like, oh, they will kick you off. And
you will get back.
Yeah, so the fact that I felt like I'm good as gold, because like I'm watching some of those comics, and I had a booker that has some pretty top-notch comics. My wife is like, it sounds like Survivor. It pretty much is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it pretty much is, because when they're done, they are done. Because at the end of the day, you are the entertainment, and you come a dime a dozen. It's the passengers that make that ship go around and come back around. So
this ain't a comedy club. And once you get fired from a cruise line, you're fired. You're not coming back.
Hold on, you gotta say that again. Once you fired, you're fired.
You fired. You fired.
You're done.
If you had 20 weeks on the ships after that, guess what? That's 20 weeks you ain't got no more.
Ooh. Yeah, man. Oh no, it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
I'm so glad. I don't know how I kept this job this long.
Bro, it's like I said, you are the mayor, man. And when you come out of Chicago, ain't nobody gonna tell you that you fired, bro.
Yeah. Well, we do have advantages, you know.
Yeah.
My cousin's waiting at the port.
Be like, oh yeah, so y'all let go of Frank? Okay. All right, look, man. look, man. Look, this ran obviously a little bit longer, but it was my fault just trying to get the user error straight. But I will keep that in mind when I have comments on the show from a different time zone. I didn't even think about that. But thank you so much, Frank, just for number one. I think I've known you for the last 12 years of my comedy career. Thank you so much for just being a good dude and a person that looks out for people trying to do their thing too. While you're trying to do your thing, that definitely means a lot. And obviously, thank you for the opportunity to travel the world for free and get paid to live your dream and perform for these people. It's such a blessing to be able to do that, man. But I truly appreciate you, and thank you again, man, for coming through on the show. And hey, COVID-19, this thing should be over soon, so stay safe, man.
I'm hoping, because I want to shave the beard off. I said I wasn't gonna shave until it was over.
Well, it looked like you ain't gonna be shaving the beard.
All this gray.
Yeah. Hey, look, luckily I'm a barber, so I can keep my stuff kind of trimmed up nicely.
I ain't cutting
nobody else's hair. It's just mine. That's it.
I'm a Grizzly Adams this thing all the way out. I'm gonna let it rock.
Hey, look, and before I get out of here, so for the people that's on here, here's your opportunity to win some cash. Just put your give me 1 second. Put your Cash App in the comments as you answer this question. All right. So for $25 directly into your Cash App account, when did Frank say he started doing comedy? When did he start doing comedy? All right. And if you have to have been tuning in from the beginning, otherwise just guess a year. I can tell you it's been over 10 years. Okay. So
okay. I didn't have no gray hair when I started this. So
right. So yeah. So if you were tuning in from the beginning, you get $25 to your Cash App. Just put your Cash App in the comments. The first person that answers it correctly, I will send you $25 tonight. Go put some gas in your tank. Go put some food in the house, man. I just want people to be safe during these times. But thank you again, Frank, for tuning in, man, and for coming on with me, okay?
Oh, not a problem.
All right.
Appreciate it, Quincy.
No problem, man. Thank y'all. This has been another episode of Quality Comedy Time with Quincy, and we'll see you guys next week with another guest. He's from Jacksonville, Florida, so I know you guys are going to enjoy him. All right. You guys have a safe night.
All right. Later, bro.
All right, man.